not sleeping tonight. This isn't a hand puppet or an animatronic. And don't let their big eyes and gigantic mouths fool you. These birds are real, and they're the stuff of nightmares. Turn up your sound. You'll want to hear this. This is a potu bird. You might have seen memes of this bug-eyed bird making the rounds on social media. Or maybe you've heard their iconic calls, like the one we just played for you. So why do they scream like that? Besides scaring us half to death. What do potu birds use their gigantic eyes and mouths for? And why do potus have one of the saddest stories in the world? There are 7 species of potu birds, and they're all native to Central and South America. But not all of their calls are the same. Northern potus have the famous creepy, growling calls you heard earlier. Great potus have a more human-like call. It's a womp or bomp sound that some people have described as a groaning teenager calling for their mom. And finally, there's the common potu. Their calls are more pleasant to listen to as they sound like a flute. But their unique calls have inspired countless local myths and stories that aren't so pleasant. One of which is an Amazonian legend called Ai Mama. This story is about 2 children abandoned by their parents in the woods. At night, the children magically turn into birds and can fly home. They eternally call out for their mother, singing the song, Ai Mama. So if they aren't the scariest birds in the world, they're definitely one of the saddest. But aside from the sad stories, can you guess what potus use their calls for? They're used to communicate with each other. Shocker. Male potu birds use their scary screeches to attract potential mates. Demonic screams aren't my cup of tea, but hey, whatever works. You do you, potu. And what's the deal with potu birds' oversized facial features? Their eyes might look ridiculous and comical, but they're helpful for the birds' nocturnal habits. Potu's large, luminescent eyes help them to see extremely well in the dark. So much so that their eyes easily reflect any source of light, like a flashlight. Okay, that's pretty freaky. And it doesn't help their creepy reputation. To stay alert and stop their conspicuous eyes from blowing their cover, potu birds have small slits in their eyelids. This lets them watch out for predators while taking their daily snooze. But in the cover of night, potu birds are very active. They expertly use their night vision to guide their massive mouths. Potus have pretty small beaks, but that doesn't stop them from catching some tasty insects. They've evolved to swallow their prey in a single bite. All potus have to do is open their mouths wide and scoop up as many bugs as they can fit down their gullets. If you're intrigued and brave enough to find these birds, let me warn you. They can be hard to find. There are plenty of them, but potu birds are masters of disguise. Their feathers perfectly blend into the trees they perch on, and they can hide in broad daylight by posing as a tree branch. Their undercover abilities combined with their slow movement and the slits in their eyelids let potu birds track anything approaching them. So it's safe to say that most potus will be long gone before you get anywhere close to them. That is, if you can even spot one. Eating lots of bugs at once and crying like a demon or an upset teenager is what potu birds do, and that's what makes them crazy creatures. The simple bat, nature's premier airborne environmental quality control officers. Yet, there's one species of these soaring mammals with a wingspan so freakishly long, glimpsing one in the wild can understandably send shivers down a person's spine. A literal cold-blooded creature so impressive in size, people prefer to call it a flying fox. And when it takes flight, it defines what we've come to know as a megabat. It's huge. So what makes the giant golden-crowned flying fox such a picky eater? Why would entire ecosystems collapse if they disappeared? Get ready for an unforgettable introduction to the largest bat on the planet, the giant golden-crowned flying fox. Named after the yellow golden fur on the top of its head, This bat and its natural crown is native to several islands in the Philippines. It's the only region on the planet you'll find them. Speaking of crowns, this member of the flying fox family claims one for having a wingspan of 1.7 meters. When these wings are spread out, the giant golden-crowned flying fox is as wide as Tom Cruise is tall. Add to this the long claws on its 5-toed feet and freakishly glaring eyes, and you could forgive someone like Mission Impossible's Ethan Hunt for being a little nervous hanging around with one. If it's an attack you're worried about, relax. Giant golden-crowned flying foxes could care less about humans as a food source. What we do need to remember is they can be carriers for potentially lethal diseases, such as the Reston strain of the Ebola virus. As one of 65 members of the flying fox family, the giant golden-crowned iteration has a small head and ears with a body weight of up to 1.2 kilograms. Doesn't seem like it's packing much heft, does it? It's also rare for this herbivore to have a length in excess of 29 centimeters. So what's the deal with the all-natural wingsuit it's been bestowed with by Mother Nature? In one night, this halo-headed megabat can cover a distance of 40 kilometers. That's some serious long-distance travel for any animal, so having a smaller body helps conserve energy, while its uber wings do the gliding. When it's time to grab a branch and get some rest, the wings also act as built-in sleeping bags to help conserve body heat. Those big eyes serve an important purpose. The giant golden-crowned flying fox isn't equipped with echolocation like many other bats. Instead, it packs a 1-2 punch with great eyesight and the ability to smell their next meal through the thickest patch of mango trees and swampy forests they call home. When the dinner bell does ring, this bat is on the hunt for one simple meal: figs. That's right. It might look like it's flown out of someone's nightmares, but figs are okay. But this flying fox is hyper-focused on the fruit, seeds, and leaves of the Ficus subcordata fig tree. Nothing else will do. They're considered a keystone species for Philippine forests, and they've earned the honor due to their ability to spread the seeds of their meals via their feces during marathon flights. The more these flying foxes poop, the better off the ecosystem they live in is. Unfortunately, humans have been making life difficult for not just the giant golden-crowned flying fox, but 10 other species of Philippine flying foxes that are all on the endangered or threatened list with it. There are less than 20,000 golden-crowned bats left in the wild, and since the species only mates once yearly, with one pup born to each paired couple, stabilizing those population numbers is difficult. And they're running out of space to call home. 90% of lush forests in the Philippines have been wiped out due to logging, mining, and urban development. Sure, they might appear a little ominous to us, but to the natural world, the giant golden-crowned flying fox and its intimidating size is a much-needed ecosystem anchor darting across the night skies. Wings larger than a person, poop that brings life to the forest, and an unrivaled fig fetish all make this megabat weirdly wonderful.
What do you know about vampire bats? They're scary, they drink your blood, and they're sometimes known to transform into humans with eccentric capes and hairdos, right? Wrong. Most of that stuff is completely made up, the product of Western mythology. Well, except for the blood drinking, they definitely do that. In fact, it's all they survive on. And yes, they'll even feed on humans. Vampire bats are not picky eaters. They'll snack on almost any type of animal, from porcupines to armadillos, sea lions, even penguins. But their preferred diet is livestock and birds, things they can sneak up on a little easier. With that in mind, if a human decides to take a nap outdoors in vampire bat country, the bats won't hesitate to take a bite. Blood is blood, and we've got lots of it. What would happen if one bit you? What special skills do they use for hunting? And how are their social relationships similar to humans? If a vampire bat bites you, chances are it'll happen while you're sleeping. and you probably wouldn't even notice it. When you wake up, you might find a tiny bit of blood on your legs or feet, but that's about it. Vampire bats only drink about a tablespoon of blood, so you'd have no problem surviving the meal, and no, you won't turn into a vampire. But you might still want to get yourself to a hospital, because one thing vampire bats have been known to transfer is rabies. In the animal kingdom, the bat's victims have no problem surviving the minimal blood loss. It's the disease and infection-causing bites that they have to worry about. Oh, and here's another fun fact for you. Despite what the movies have told you, vampire bats don't suck blood. They'll bite you and drink your blood, but there's no sucking involved. When they sit down for dinner, they make a painless incision near an artery using their sharp teeth, and then let the blood trickle out into a pool, before lapping it up like a cat. The bat's saliva contains a unique protein that makes sure the blood keeps flowing. Affectionately named Draculin, the protein prevents the blood of the prey from clotting and sealing up the wound. This isn't the only skill these guys have developed to make hunting a little easier. They also use their noses as heat-seeking sensors to find blood vessels to dig into. For vampire bats to get this close to their prey, they've become proficient at sneaking up on them. One way they do this is through their ability to see in the pitch black of night. Contrary to popular belief, vampire bats aren't blind. They have great eyesight. They can spot delicious-looking cows from 130 meters away. And since they can't carry flashlights when the sun goes down, they use echolocation to navigate their way in the dark. Once the bat has found its meal for the night, it will land on the ground a good distance away from them, continuing its approach on foot. The vampire bat has evolved to be as nimble on the ground as it is in flight. While other bats awkwardly navigate flat surfaces, the common vampire quickly hops along at more than 1 meter per second. It's funny, for all the time our society has spent building these creatures up as monsters, we've never stopped to focus on how similar they are to us. Just like us, they form complex social relationships. Family and friends groom and look out for one another. If a bat misses its dinner, another one will regurgitate their meal of blood, just like a mother bird does for her chicks. These bonds extend beyond family members too. Individuals that you've fed in the past will come back and feed you in the future, creating a nice, bloody safety net for when bats can't find food. So while the idea of blood-sucking, flying furry things may seem pretty terrifying, vampire bats show us that there's always more than meets the eye, and that's why they're crazy creatures.
I'm scared.
Oh!
Is there a mouse on your back? There's a... Okay. Okay.
in there. He's in there. Oh, we got it.
Oh, wait, Shelby.
Listen.
It's his little arm. Okay.
Okay, but do you want to
No! Run!
As you can see, they actually have like a sucker footprint on the top of their head. So I took it, and the gal that caught this marlin, we went ahead and stuck it on her butt so she could get and see exactly what it feels like. Didn't hurt her, kind of gave her a fish hickey.
Watch out.
Holy handlebars!
This is a two-headed snake. I found them in the wild. They are amazing, right? What should I name them?